Hello everybody, it's me Alicia. So in my last video I opened up the July 2017 dollar bead box with you guys, and I also opened up the dollar bead bag. And ever since I did that video I've been playing with these beads that I got from the dollar bead box and bag, and I've seen a lot of different things that I could make with this. And something that I really wanted to work with that I got were these square beads right here. They are so cool. They have a stone look to them. They're actually Czech, and I just love them so much. And I thought it'd be really neat if I could bead on these, and so I did. I used the 3mm Czech fire polish beads in the gold color and the 3mm Czech fire polish beads in the purple color. And by the way, these ones are from the dollar bead box and these are from the dollar bead bag. And I also used 11-0 miyuki seed beads, and this is what I did. I'm so happy with it. It's really cool looking at it from all different angles. The hole in this bead is right there through the side, so you have to string it like this. When I first made these, I was thinking they would be cool as earrings, but now that I have them made, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm actually aiming for a bracelet. And so my idea is, and ideas don't always work out for jewelry making, but you know, at least I have a starting point. I want to make a bracelet, and I'll start with this bead here, and then I have my beaded bead, and then I have this other beaded bead here, which I will also be showing you how to make. I made this one with pinch beads that they also sent. I also used the 3mm Czech fire polish beads and 11-0 seed beads, and it turned out really cool. The pinch beads fit together like little puzzle pieces. It's really neat. So I have this here, and then I'm going to repeat this pattern again. So I'll have this again, and then my square bead that I have to bead, and I have to make another one of these to go here. Now I have these 6mm Czech fire polish beads in the Aztec gold. I've already had these. I got them from Sugar Gems. They sent them to me. It was a Happy Meal kind of thing. And I thought that I would use these as spacers and put them between all the beads. And I still think that I might end up with a very short bracelet. So I might have to use a jumbo clasp, which I have on hand. So I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I might have to use some of these. And these are the only beads that I have left over from doing the beaded beads. These are my extras. So I might have to use some of these. I only have 6 of the purple left, so it might be very challenging. These here are the Swarovski top drilled bicones that they sent. I don't know if I'm going to use these or not in here. I really wanted to put those on some stainless steel lever back earring findings and wear them as like everyday earrings. I thought that would be really cute. So I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but it's just something that was purple and that kind of matched my color scheme that I had going on, so that's why I have them here. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what you're going to need, and then we'll get started making the beaded bead. I'll do this one first, and then that one. I'm now going to tell you the things you're going to need for your materials, but the thing is I do plan on making a bracelet with this, and I know that I'm going to be using other materials here that I'm not naming. So if you want to see the entire material list, please look down there in the description bar under the video. Open that up, just click the arrow, or does it say a description box still? I don't know, they change it all the time. Just look down there below the video and you will see the full list of materials. So right now I'm basically giving you what I'm using to make the 2 beaded beads, and I'm also telling you the other things that I am using from the dollar bead box. So to make the beaded beads, for this one here, you will need 3 feet of 6-pound or 8-pound fireline. I am using 8-pound. You're going to be making 2 of these, so you will have to cut 2 3-foot pieces to make this beaded bead. To make the pinch bead, you will need 2 feet of 6-pound or 8-pound fireline, and again, if you're making 2 of these, you will need to cut 2 2-foot pieces of fireline. I'm also using 2 size 10 beading needles, which I already have my thread on, and I'm also using 11-0 seed beads, and these are miyuki. And the square bead here is 18mm Czech tabular bead. You will get 2 of these. I'm also using 3mm Czech fire polish beads. I'm using the purple color and the gold. And I'm also using the pinch beads that they sent. And these here, I'm using these also. These are called 14mm button beads. Now, there are other materials that you're going to need that I'm not showing you right now. Again, I want to make this clear. So, at the end, I will have a picture of the finished bracelet, all strung together, and I will have the entire material list, including things that you don't see here, down there in the description bar. So please, please look down there so you could see everything you will need. And again, I'm trying to stay with the basic materials that just about everybody has, and use the stuff that they sent me, so you guys can make pretty much the same thing that I'm making. Like I said, these here I wanted to use as spacer beads in between, but I might use something different. I was actually thinking about using a faceted Czech clear bead, maybe even a bicone. So if you don't have this color, you could do that. There's other things that we could do besides these here if you don't have them, okay? So, that's the material list, and again, look down there in the description bar. Yeah, that's it. I went ahead and I put my fireline onto my needles, and I made sure that I had the same amount of tail on both sides so I don't run out of thread. And the first thing I'm going to do is pick up one 3mm Czech fire polish bead, and it's going to be the purple color, and I'm going to slide that down. And then on each needle I'm going to pick up one 3mm bead on each needle. Okay, slide those down, so I now have 3. And now I'm going to pick up one 11/0 seed bead. I'm going to slide this down, crisscross my needles through the seed bead, put my needles together so they are even. Okay, and I'm going to bring this seed bead down to the center of my thread till I have what looks like this. Okay, and my needles moved on me, so I have to make sure that I have that even. Okay, now I'm going to continue on. So the next thing to do is to pick up 9 11/0 seed beads on each needle, and you want to make sure that they are exact. And I wasn't really counting there, I was just going to 10. Let's see, how many do I got? I got 8. I have, there's 4, there's 5, that's my 9. So I'll slide that down, and then I'll pick up 9 on this side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, double check. There's 5, 4, that's 9. Now I'm going to pick up one seed bead, slide this down, and crisscross my needle through that one seed bead and bring this down. Okay, so what I just made here is going to be a hole right there for the square bead to nestle into, so it's part of the bezel for it. That will sit in there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is pick up a gold bead on each needle and slide that down, and then I'm going to pick up a purple, crisscross through that, and slide that down. I need to make sure that I pull this tight. Okay, and I did, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to make the center right there where the 4 purple are. So I'm going to pick up 2 3mm purple beads on each needle, and then 1 3mm cross through the middle one. Okay, and bring that down. So we now have this. And now I'm going to pick up 1 gold 3mm on each needle slide those down, pick up one 11/0 seed bead, crisscross through that, and bring that down. So we now have this, okay? And again, I'm going to pick up 9 11/0 seed beads on each needle. Okay, oops. Going to double check. It's very important to make sure we have exactly 9. So there's 4, 5, that's my 9. Over here, I'll do the same thing. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Double check. There's 5, there's 4, that's 9. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up one 11/0 and crisscross through that and bring it down. Pull it tight, okay? Now I'm going to pick up one gold 3mm on each needle, and I'm going to pick up one purple 3mm and cross through this, okay? Just like that. So you should now have this. Now what I'm going to do is take one of my needles, it does not matter which one, and I'm going to pick up one purple 3mm, and I'm going to go straight to the other side, and I'll zoom in so you could see. I'm just going from here with this needle, picking up the bead, I'm passing through here, okay? Just like that. And then I'm going to pick up another 3mm, that's purple, and I'm going to crisscross my needles through this one. Okay? So just like that, that's what we have. I'm going to put my bead in here. The corners need to go into the white holes, so just like this. That's how it should look. Okay, both sides. And now what I'm going to do is pick up one gold 3mm bead on each needle and one 11/0 seed bead, and I'm going to crisscross my needles to this one seed bead and bring that down, and make sure you pull it tight, and you have to constantly make sure that it stays tight. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom back out. And again, I'm going to pick up 9 11/0 seed beads on each needle. 5, I got one extra. Okay, so there's my 5, and here's my 4, that's a total of 9. Same on this side, I need 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, again, double check. Sometimes I pick up an extra one, sometimes it falls off. 4 and 5. Okay, now I'm going to pick up one 11/0 seed bead and crisscross my needles to this one bead. Now before I pull this down too tight, I'm going to pull these two strings right here on the inside. And then I'm going to lay this down like this, pull this down, okay, make that tight. I'm going to take my needles. On each needle I'm going to pick up one gold 3mm bead, okay, and I will zoom in again for this one. I'm going to take my needle, I'll do this one first, and pass through this one purple bead. Okay, so I'll just put my finger there and pull that up. I'm going to stick the needle in on the left side of my mat, and I'm going to take my other needle that has the gold bead, and I'm going to pass through the purple one too. Okay. Pull that through. Make sure the corner of your bead is in that hole. And this is what we should have. Okay, you want to make sure it's tight. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is take a needle and pick up one seed bead. Okay, and I'm going to pass through this purple bead right here. Just like that, it sits right there. So what we're doing is filling in the gaps right there with the seed beads. Okay, so taking my other needle, I'm going to pick up one 11/0 seed bead, and I'm going to pass through this bead here. So I'm taking this thread and going through that bead there. Okay, pull it tight. You now have this. I'm going to pull both of these threads tight because we do not need it to be loose, and it looks really good, so I'm going to keep going. So now what I'm going to do is pick up another 11/0 seed bead, and I have to pass through this bead here, fill in that gap. Okay, taking my other needle, picking up one 11/0, passing through the same bead. We're doing the same thing. Okay, now I'm going to take both of my needles and I'm going to pull this very tight. We should now have what looks like this. Okay, so now on each needle pick up one gold 3mm bead, slide that down, pick up one 11/0 seed bead, and crisscross through that one seed bead. We now have this. So this side here is pretty much done. So now what we're going to do is flip this over. We're going to do this corner, this little spot right here, and then we're going to fill in around the purple beads. So again, I have to pick up 9 11/0 seed beads. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Double check. There's 5. And there's 4. Again, 9 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, double check. 4, 5. I'm going to pick up one 11/0 that I have to cross through. Cross my needles through it. Bring that down. This corner is going to go in that hole. And then I have to pick up my last two 3mm beads that are gold. I'm going to take this needle and pass through this purple bead, just like this. Okay, and I'll stick my needle on this side of the mat now. Taking my other needle, I already have my gold bead on it. I just have to take this needle and pass through this purple bead. Make sure that my corners are lined up. Okay, pull this very tight. And this is what I have now. So I have my purple, or my white seed beads in between my purple there. And now I have to do the same on this side. So I'm going to take my needle, pick up one white seed bead, pass through this purple one there. Oh, and by the way, I first did this with monofilament and it worked, but I don't know what it would be like to tie knots. You would have to tie the knots in front of the 3mm beads. Okay, got that in. It was a little twisted, but I fixed it. I'm picking up another white seed bead and I'm passing through this purple one here. Okay, now I'm going to go to my other needle and thread, picking up one seed bead. I'm right here. I'm going to pass through that bead there, picking up another seed bead. I'm going to go through this bead here. Okay, and I want to pull both of these very tight. Okay, now what I have to do is close these sides up. This is going to make sure that our bead does not fall out. It really secures it. So now what I'm going to do is take my needle, I'll do this one first, and I'm going to reposition it. I'm going to pass through this gold bead. Okay, hold snug. And then I'm going to pass through these seed beads. Now the numbers were very important. I need to pass through 3. Okay, so I'm through the middle one there, so I have to actually pass through this one. Okay, so this bead here, we're not actually counting. There are 9 seed beads from here to here. So if you look, not counting the middle one that's between the 2 gold, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So passing through the middle one here, and then through these 3, okay, just like that. So then if you look, there's 3 right here. See those 3? I'm going to pass through these 3 also. Okay, so we're now in position to add our bead. And I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll go back to the other needle. I'm picking up my 3mm bead that is purple. I'm going to go across. Now looking over here, I'm not counting this bead. I'm going to count here. So 1, 2, 3, number 4 I have to go through. So if you look, 1, 2, 3 that we're skipping over, 3 here I'm passing through, and then there's 3 right there. Okay, we're not counting the one in between the gold. So I'm going to pass through here, pick up another purple. Okay, I'm going to go through these 3 right here. Okay, just like that. Hope you can see that there's 3 there that we're not going through. We're basically making a little square. Now I've only gone through this one time, so I'm going to pass through it all again. We're going to pass through it twice. Make sure you pull it tight as you go. Okay, just like this. And you know what? I think I'm going to finish this side, and then I'll go to the other side. So I'm going to pass down through all of these seed beads. There's through 3. I'm going to go through these 3 and that one there in the center. Okay. Now I'm going to pass through these 3 here. Okay. And then the 3 on the side. So the 3 that are on the side are the ones that we're connecting are 3mm purple bead too. So you can see there's 3 there, not counting the one between the gold. And then there's 3 there. So, oh, there's our hole. So I'm going to pass through here. And I need to slide my needle down my thread. Picking up another 3mm. I'm going to this one and I have to count. Here are my 3 beads, skipping over those. Going through these 3 here, and again make sure there's 3 there that I'm passing through, and those 3. So just like that. Okay, pull that together, pick up another bead, another 3mm, and I'm going to pass through these. Pull that tight, and again reinforce this. Go back through all of it a second time. Pulling it snug as you go. Okay, through here. There's our second time through that bead. And then I'm just going to pass through these 3 right here. Okay, now I'm going to go to my other needle. And we're going to do the same exact thing. So I'm exiting right here out of this purple bead. I'm going to take my needle and go through the gold one. Pull that snug. I'm going to pass through the seed bead that's in between the 2 gold. And I have to count again, so I'm going to go through my 3 right there on the top of the bead. And then I have to pass through the 3 here that are on the side, and right there are my other 3 that I'm skipping, okay? So just like that, I'm going to pick up one 3mm. Looking at this side here, I'm going to skip over these 3 and go through these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on that side, that's correct. Picking up another purple. There's my 3 there. I could see straight across. Here are my other 3, there's 3 right there. Okay, and then I have to reinforce all of this a second time. Make sure that we pull it tight as we go. Okay, I'm going to pass through all of these, and I have to get over here, so I'm going to sew through all of these beads here. Okay, so now I'm over here, so I'm going to pass through my 3 beads right there on the top or the bottom, and now I'm at the side, so I have to pass through 3 on the side, and I can see my 3 up there, so I did good counting my beads. I didn't pick up any extras or forget one. And now I'm going to pick up a 3mm. Now coming over here, I have to count again, so there's 1, 2, 3 there. Then there are my 3 side beads. So if you look from this angle, you could see really well. There's 3 here that are on the top. There's 3 side beads, and then there's 3 there on the other bottom or top of the bead, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so passing through there, just like that. Picking up another one. Coming out here. I'm going to go through these 3. Pull that together. And we need to reinforce this, so I'm going to go through everything a second time. Again, I need to slide my needle down. Okay, so here is going through that there. I'm going to go through this one, then through these 3. Okay, so now we're straight across from each other. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this tight, pull this side tight, and now we are ready to tie our half hitch knots. It looks really good. Okay, so let's tie knots. I need to reposition my needle, and what I'm going to do is I want my needle to come out over here. So I'm going to, coming out there, I'm going to sew through these 4, and then through these here. Okay, and then I'll go up through these 3. I will pass through this purple bead, through these here, and I'm now in position. So I now have to do the same thing to this needle that I just did to that one. So again, I'm going to pass through these 4, through these 3, up through these 3 here, this bead, through these 3 here. Okay, and now I'm getting ready to tie my knots. So if I were to tie a knot, by the way, I have my thread coming out there and out here. Now if I were to tie a knot right here, it would be seen because it's on a corner. There's a gap there, so the knot will be seen. So I'm going to pass through these beads right here, okay, these 4 seed beads, and I am going to tie a knot right here in front of this 3mm. So I'm going to take my needle, lift that 3mm up, just like that. I'm going under that bead. Okay, I'm making a loop, and I'm going to pass through this loop 2 times. There's 1, 2, just like that, and bring that knot down. Now I'm going to pass through this bead, and my knot's going to go in it. Now, whenever we tie knots, no matter what we're tying knots on, you always want to follow your old thread path. Because if you make a thread path where there hasn't been one before, and if all the other places don't have that same thread path you just made, your piece is going to be warped. It's going to be pulling. in the place where you made a new thread path, and the other places are gonna, you know, not look the same. So what you're thinking that you want to do is probably go through this seed bead and then through that one, but we can't because we've never gone in that direction. So to follow our old thread path, you can see the thread right there. What we have to do is go through this 3mm bead. Okay, just through the 3mm, just like that, and then through this 3mm. If you want, you can go through that seed bead because we've already taken that thread path, but I'm just going to skip over it for now and go through there. So now I'm going to pass it through here, and I don't want to tie a knot there because I think it might be seen. So I'm going to tie a knot up here. Okay, so right here I'm going to take my needle, go under this bead. The thing about doing this with monofilament is it becomes harder to tie knots. So I'm passing through that twice. Actually, I just came out of it in the wrong direction, so I'll have to do it again. Okay, just like that. Pull that down. And then I'm going to pass through these seed beads. Okay. And then weave down here. Just following that old thread path. I'm going to go through here. And I'm going to tie another knot right here. Okay. Just like that. Make a loop and go through it twice. Then pass the needle through this bead. And then you want to go through the purple bead. You can also go through that seed bead and then through this purple bead, through this bead here, and then you're going to want to pass through this seed bead, or tie knot, and then pass through that seed bead there. So just keep going, tying half-hitch knots. And the thing is you want to follow your old thread path. Do not make new thread paths, especially in this area here, because if you make one, you have to do the same with all the others, and you're not going to have enough thread to do that. So keep going, tying knots, and you want to do the same exact thing we just did with this thread to this thread. And I try to tie as many knots as I can, and I use up most of my thread because it just makes the piece more durable. It's going to last a lot longer than if you just tied 2 knots. So I really like to reinforce it and make it strong. So keep going, tying your knots, and when you get done with this bead, we're ready to do this one, which is very easy. So I went ahead and I put my thread onto my 2 needles, and I made sure that my tails were the same length on each end so I don't run out of thread at one end. And look at this, 2 feet of thread makes that little bead. Isn't that funny? You could see all my thread at one time in the camera. I don't think that's ever happened before. Okay, so I'm going to start by making this bead at the end. Okay, I'm going to make that circle first. Alright. So I'm going to start by picking up 6 11/0 seed beads. Okay, I'm going to slide 5 of them down, and then I'm going to take and cross through with my needles through the 6th bead. Putting the needles together, bringing this down, finding the center of my thread, just like that. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is pick up a pinch bead, okay, a 3mm, and a pinch bead. I'm going to slide these 2 down, and I'm going to crisscross my needles through the pinch bead. Bring it down. I should have this, okay. Now I'm going to take this thread right here and pass through the next seed bead that's right beside that one right there, okay? So going through there, just like that. Then I'm going to take this needle right here, pick up 1 3mm and a pinch bead, and cross through the pinch, just like that. Okay, and again I'm going to take my needle, this one right here, and I have to go through the next seed bead. So I'm already hanging on to that one there. I have to go through this one now. Pull this through. So now you can see what I've done. Okay, I'm going to take this needle here, pick up one 3mm and a pinch, cross to that pinch bead, bring it down. So as you can see, look how they're laying. Isn't that neat? Because they have that triangle shape. Okay, so I'm right here and I have to pass through the next seed bead. So I'm taking my needle, going through the next seed bead, just like that. I'm going to take this string here that's by the dark purple Czech fire polished 3mm beads. I'm picking up another one of those and a pinch bead, and I'm going to cross through this, bring that down. Okay, so right now I have 5 pinch beads. I'm going to take my needle, the one that's here at the end, the opening of my bead, and I'm going to pass through my next seed bead right there. Okay, pull this through. We now have this. Okay, so again, with my other string needle, I mean this one over here where the dark beads are at, I'm going to pick up another dark purple 3mm bead, okay, and then a pinch. And this is my number 6 pinch bead, so this is going to be the last one for this row. Crisscrossing that pinch bead, bringing it down. So looking from here, you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pinch beads. Okay, I'm now going to take my needle and I have to reposition it by passing through the last seed bead and through the pinch bead over there, because we're closing this up now. Okay, so just like that. We should now be exiting out of these pinch beads there on the side, both threads. I'm now going to pick up my last 3mm and crisscross my needles through that bead. Okay, pull it down and pull it really tight. We should now have this. Okay, so I'm going to check and see if one of my threads are longer, and I do have a longer one. It's this one right here. I'm going to take the longer one. I'm going to pick up one pinch bead, a seed bead, and a pinch bead. And I'm going to crisscross my needles through this one and bring this down. Okay, so now I have what looks like this. So now I'm going to take this thread right here, the one that's on the inside, and pass through the next bead right here, which is that 3mm, just like that. Okay, I'm going to pick up with this needle, the one that's right here by that one lonesome white seed bead. I'm going to pick up one more seed bead and a pinch bead and cross through the pinch bead. Pull it down and pull it tight. Okay, so we now have this. So the next thing to do, I'm exiting out of this pinch bead. I'm going to go straight down through the 3mm right there. Okay, and now I'm ready to pick up more. So with this string right here, not the one coming out of the 3mm, but the one coming out of the pinch bead, I'm going to pick up one seed bead and another pinch bead, and I'm going to crisscross my needles through that, bring that down, pull it tight. Again, I'm right here with this needle. I have to pass it through this one 3mm just like that. Okay. With this string here, I'm going to pick up again 1 seed bead and 1 pinch bead, crisscross my needles through that pinch bead and bring it on down. I now have this. Okay. Again, I'm going to take this thread. I need to pass through the next one right here. So pulling that through. Okay, I'm going to pick up some more beads now. Did I accidentally pick up 2 seed beads? I sure did. So to fix that, I'm going to pass through these beads here. Get rid of that 1 seed bead. I don't know how I did that. You guys were probably watching me the whole time. You picked up a second one. You picked up a second one. Don't continue. Okay, so right there is my pinch bead that I have to crisscross through again. Okay. Now I'm going to take this needle, pass through here. I fixed my boo-boo. Alright. So now I have to pick up 1 seed bead and my last pinch bead. Crisscross through this bead here. Bring that down. Pull it tight. Okay. So I now have 5 up there, that's correct. And I have 6 pinch beads on this side that I'm working on. I'm going to take my needle, pass through this 3mm. Okay, and then I'm going to go up the pinch bead that's right beside that 3mm where I'm exiting out of. Okay, and now I'm on the top. So I have to pick up 1 seed bead. Actually, I'm doing it the wrong way. I have to pick it up with this one. With this needle over here, I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead, and I'm going to pass through this pinch bead like this. Okay. I was thinking, because I've only made this one time, that both of my threads would come out the pinch. I'd pick up a seed bead, crisscross that seed bead, but I'm not. I have to come in here and fill in between the purple beads. So I now have a needle that's right here in the middle where all the dark purple 3mm beads are, and then I have a needle up here. I'm going to take the needle that's up here at the opening, and I'm going to pass through all of these seed beads. Right now they're not together. See how these are together in a circle? These here are separated, so I'm going to bring them together by passing through all of them, reinforcing them. So I'm going to pass through all of them and bring them together in a circle. Okay, there they are all together. So now I'm ready to tie knots with this needle. I made a thread path through all of those seed beads that I could tie knots in between. Now I need to come to this needle here and I need to fill in the gaps. So I'm not going to tie knots with this yet. I'm just going to let this sit here. Actually, I think I'll pass through a couple more seed beads. Okay, and then later I'll come back and tie knots here. So I'm going to go to my other needle. Okay, I need to make sure this is tight. Actually, I'm going to take that needle off there so I don't get poked. Then I can hold this thread. Okay, so I'm exiting out of the pinch bead. What you want to do is go through one of these, doesn't matter which. Okay, you want to pull that tight, just like that. I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead. There's a gap right here. I'm going to fill it in by passing through the next 3mm. And do that again. Pick up 1 seed bead. Coming out of that one, go to the next one. Fill in that gap. Picking up another. Going for the next one. Another seed bead. the way around. Okay. So, I have a thread that's on this end. Okay, I'll be tying knots on that side. And to tie knots with this thread, I need to get to this end where there's no thread at. So I have a thread over here, and I have to take this thread and go up there. So I'm Xing out of this bead. I'm just going to pass up through the pinch bead. I hope I didn't catch that. There it is. It's right there. Okay. And then I'm going to pass through a seed bead. Okay. So I'm now ready to tie my knots. And I have to stop my camera because I have issues with the videos separating when I don't want them to. Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to tie half hitch knots here. So there's a thread path that's already there. So I'm going to take my needle, go underneath, catch that thread that's right there, make a loop, and pass through it twice. Bring that on down. Okay, and go through the next seed bead. Now it's a little hard to tie or hide your knots here. Tying them is easy, but it's a little hard to hide them. But the thing is, this here, when you have it on your bracelet, you're not going to notice your knots. And since my thread is white and my seed beads are white, it's absolutely fine. And if you look really closely at this one, you can see the knots. But like I said, since we're going to be stringing it like this, we're going to have beads on the ends. No one's going to notice it. Okay, so I'm tying another knot here, making a loop, and passing through it twice, and bringing this knot down, and passing through the next bead. So keep going tying your half hitch knots in here. I do 6 knots. I go all the way around tying knots in between each bead, and then I sew down into the pinch bead and I follow my old thread path, and I just try to use up most of my thread, and then I go to the other end and I do the same thing. Okay, so keep going tying your half hitch knots in between the seed beads, grabbing that little thread that's in between them. Okay, so I finished tying knots in my beads, and I took nylon coated stainless steel bead stringing wire, and I made a pattern on my bead mat, and I used these beads here. These are the Czech fire polish 6mm Aztec gold color, and I used some of those and some pinch beads, and this is what it looks like. It is 6.5 inches long right now. This might be too long if I use a gigantic gold clasp, so I might take some out. If you look here, I have the purple 3mm beside the white button beads. I have the pinch beads beside the square beaded beads, and then I just have the gold beads here beside those ones to explain my pattern to you. And by the way, I was realizing if you don't have those beads in that color, you can just go to Michael's, Joann's, AC Moore, maybe even Hobby Lobby. I've only been there one time, and get some gold pearls, and it would be basically the same thing, 6mm gold pearls, and it would look really good. I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like with just the gold 6mm beads in between, because I know some of you have really small wrists, so I'm going to take out all the pinch beads and those there and just do the gold in between and show you guys what it looks like that. So here is what it looks like without the pinch beads and the 3mm beads. It just shrunk 1 inch. It was at 6.5 and now it's at 5.5. So if you have a really tiny wrist, you can just do it like this and put a little clasp on it. Make sure it fits you though before you finish it off. So I think I might do it the first way that I had it, but I'm not totally sure because it's all going to depend on how big my clasp is that I gotta use. And right now all of my clasps are buried, so I have to go get those out. I will leave the finished picture of what the bracelet looks like at the end of the video, and of course at the very beginning of the video. And I just wanted to point out that most of the things I used to make this was from the dollar bead box. The only things that were mine were this gold 6mm Czech fire polish beads, which you could substitute with gold pearls, which are everywhere, gold glass pearls. Those were mine. The bead stringing wire is mine. The fireline is mine. And the seed beads are mine. Everything else was from the dollar bead box. So I used very basic materials, and look at how amazing this is. And just putting the 6mm beads in between it, it looks really beautiful because of all the detail in my beaded beads and also in these button beads, which really help pull this together. So, this is it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry I've made from my videos on my Facebook page, and follow me on Pinterest. Thanks for watching.